All right, what's up, y'all?
Girl dad.
Yep.
Yeah,
soon
exciting.
to be.
How exciting?
Really excited. Yeah. Obviously, first kid, so that's exciting, and then having a girl, it's new territory. So we're really excited. Due in January, so it's the last training camp without a baby. So I'm gonna enjoy the more calmness that there is now, I'm sure, than what it'll be like next year. But no, we're really pumped and excited for our first kid.
Not great timing when you look at playoffs, Super Bowl,
We'll make it work. Not everything always goes according to plan.
Right.
Why were you limping walking over here?
I'm just tight. We signed out. We sat down to sign autographs and go get stretched out.
Trevor, when you look at Shad Khan's committed $500 million in the last 4 months to you, Josh, and Tyson, what does that say about maybe the talent you guys have and where you guys are headed and the confidence he has that you guys can get him there?
Yeah, I mean, it shows the belief that he has in us, and obviously that feels really good as players to have that from the owner and from the organization. And he talked to us as a team the other night, and obviously won't go into everything he said, but just, the expectations are high, and they should be around here, especially when he's putting, his money, his time, all these things behind it and backing it and really putting a lot into it. He has high expectations for us. We have high expectations for ourselves, and we expect to win. And times now, we've kind of been we've been lingering around a little bit the last couple of years, but this is our opportunity, and we need to take advantage of it.
Does this year feel different? You're 3 and Doug's system, you're 4 in the league. Does anything feel different about this year?
I think you feel more comfortable every year. Just the schedule, understanding what training camp's like, the whole offseason program, having the same system now for the third year, that feels good. Some guys are in different systems every year, and that's tough. In my first 2 years, obviously, there was a change. So it feels good being able to carry things over, and also in the offseason you can work on little things, go more in depth, dive into some things that maybe you don't do well, personal game or in the offense that we're going to change, whether it's press coming to me about certain things or whatever. You can work on some of those things that you want to change moving forward instead of trying to learn a new system. That can be tough and obviously set you back a little bit. So that feels good to be in the same offense for the third year, and then just kind of understanding how it goes, being a veteran now, being around for a little bit. Obviously you're more comfortable, but training camp's still training camp. It's still a grind, and you gotta make the most out of it. You gotta make the days count because it flies by, and you gotta get ready for the season.
Do you like this team being in sort of like prove it mode again? Last year you guys were the team that everyone was looking at. Okay, they're the class of the AFC and South, and now it's Houston's getting all that love. Do you kind of like being in the role of having to prove it again?
Yeah, I mean it's like twofold because obviously that means you probably didn't do as much as you wanted to do the year before, but I think it's always fun being on this side of it where you want to prove everybody wrong, and you have a lot of people doubting you, and maybe there's not as many expectations from the outside. I mean, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. You still got to go perform, and it matters really what goes on in this building and what we do out here getting ready for the season, and really the attitude and mindset that we have moving forward. That's really what matters. But I will say it is fun kind of being the overlooked team, and you do kind of enjoy that, and you want to prove people wrong. But hopefully moving forward, there's a lot of people saying that we're good or we're great or whatever, saying good things, and that'll be another challenge of ignoring that, because that means we had a good year and we did what we were supposed to do. So obviously that's not where we're at coming into this season, but it doesn't really matter. It's just a different set of challenges. But yeah, I think it is nice kind of having that, getting overlooked a little bit.
How much has Christian Kirk meant to you as a quarterback, but also as a friend?
Yeah, we're really close, really good friend, with him and Ozzie, and, obviously my wife Marissa, we're all really tight. So I think having him, obviously the player he is and the position he plays, the communication between a slot receiver like him and myself, the quarterback, like that's important on the field, and that chemistry you see out there. But I think it also ties into our relationship off the field, and that's helped us be better on the field, and just being able to trust him. He's a pro. He does everything the right way ever since he's been here. So I've always respected that, and we've hit it off, personally, just off the field, and become really good friends too. So that always makes it easier. Obviously there's more important things in life than football. Your family, your faith, whatever those things are to each individual. But this is our life for 7 months out of the year, however long it ends up being. So you want to be around people that you enjoy being around, that are your friends, and build those relationships outside of here, or it's not as fun. So you want to feel like you have friends in the building, have guys that you have great relationships with, and that's what I'm thankful for on our team is everyone is pretty tight. So I think that's important for your team moving forward. And it's something that we've really stressed this offseason is building those relationships because it matters, come into the season when situations get tough. You want to be able to count on the guy next to you and really know him, not just as a player, but as a person.
Trevor, with all the ailments that happen at the end of the season to you personally, how long did it take for you to finally feel 100%?
It was probably getting close to March. I'd say that's kind of what I would say is March. I felt pretty good. Started training hard again. I did some stuff before that, but it was really just trying to get healthy and not push too hard early so I could get my body back. But yeah, just a couple things linger in, and then you obviously nurse those the back half of the season and never have a chance to heal. So it takes some time to work through it.
And being as durable as you've been as quarterback, I mean, was this kind of a scary thing, having to rehab, something you don't probably do?
You mean just during the season last year?
Yeah,
or? Yeah, I think I wouldn't say as much scary as it was just frustrating. It was frustrating not feeling like you're healthy every week. And that's something, obviously, in football, you're going to deal with things every week that bother you and that nag you a little bit. But, not to the extent that some of the stuff I was dealing with isn't what I'm used to. So it can be frustrating of going out there and not being able to practice full speed and not being able to get some of the reps that you want to get, and then going into the game and feeling like you're a little bit limited. But that's this business, and you got to kind of play the hand you're dealt. So that was a big emphasis this offseason is keeping my strength up and getting in great shape to where I can stay healthier. Obviously, you can't control everything. It's a physical game, and but you can control some of the hits you take, getting out of bounds, getting down, getting rid of the ball, some of those things to try to stay healthy so I can play my best down the stretch. So that's a big point of emphasis for me this year.
What's it like playing in front of the fans again? I mean, they're all out there. They're all pumped. Whenever when we talk to them, they're like, oh, Trevor Lawrence, this and that. What's it like having them out there again?
It's great having them, especially in camp. Sorry, I'm a little stuffed up today. Especially in camp when these days get long and a week or two in, it's nice having some fans out there to add a little bit of juice, because when you're out there, there's some practices that are closed to the fans, and it feels so much more dead out there than when they're here. So it brings some juice to the players, and we really appreciate it. It adds a little bit of extra motivation for us, and we enjoy getting to play in front of people. That's part of what we love about the game, and without them, we wouldn't have the game. So we appreciate them, and it's always good having them come out. I got to give it to them, coming out at whatever time in the morning, and it's already 90 degrees. As a fan, that's some commitment, so I appreciate them coming out.
Hey, let's go to Gene and then Zach.
Trevor, beyond your own injury situation, how difficult was it for you to try to, pick up Christian the last 6 weeks of the season, knowing how terrible he felt, not just for his own injury situation, but feeling like he almost let the team down?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously it's hard dealing with injuries, especially when you're a player like Christian, who's such a big contributor to the team. And but it's football, and you understand that things happen that you can't control. An injury like his is pretty serious, and so obviously you want him out there because he helps our team, but there's nothing he can do. So I was just trying to keep him up, and I think everyone did a good job of just encouraging him and checking in on him, and he did a good job handling his rehab, and he tried his hardest to come back, and it just didn't work out, and obviously didn't make the playoffs. So who knows what would have happened if we would have won that game in Tennessee, but I know he was trying his hardest to come back, which was crazy to even see that, that kind of injury, and he was, kind of considering trying to push to come back. That shows he didn't have to do that. That's a guy who's made a lot of money, who's proven himself in this league, who's been a great player for us, and honestly probably shouldn't have come back last season after that injury. And him trying to come back to help the team, I think that says enough about who he is. But he's a guy that obviously everybody needs some encouragement, but he takes care of his business. I think he has a really good head on his shoulders and had a good perspective. But yeah, it's never easy being hurt and just having to watch, especially when he got hurt, how much we struggled. It seemed like we couldn't find our groove. I know that was tough for him, and he wished he could be out there. But at the end of the day, we got to pick him up. We got to have guys step in. I got to play better. A lot of things went wrong down the stretch that isn't just to do with him, but all of us have to pick up that.
Trevor, what are your early impressions of the defense that Ryan Nielsen is installing? I know practice has been unpadded throughout the offseason, just from what you've been able to see.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but very physical. The intensity is super high over there, a lot of energy. The defensive staff has been great, really detailed. The guys are harping on the details all the time. But I'd say the physicality is definitely the biggest difference, at the line, on the outside, wherever, just really everywhere. I think that's been a point of emphasis, and you can see it. And there's every throw seems to be contested. It seems to be a little bit of traffic, which is for the quarterback not good, but it's good to see your defense doing that, and it challenges us, and it's going to present some challenges this training camp that are going to make us better as an offense too.
Trevor, third year now with Doug. Everything stay the same, or do you make changes as far as how much you throw in camp, and also your want for the preseason? Have you guys discussed how much you'll play as far as games?
Yeah, good question. We haven't discussed the games yet. I'm under the impression that's probably going to stay as it has in the past until I talk with them. I haven't talked with them yet about that. Usually we wait until we get a little further in camp, but so we'll see. I don't have an answer for that right now. And then for practice, now I plan on taking all the reps with the first group and then mixing in some other guys with me as well. Just, we talking about Christian last year, an example of that, of him going down and having Parker or whoever step up. And Parker was coming off injury coming into his rookie year, so he didn't get the spring and missed a little bit of training camp with us, and then came back, and then he got hurt in the season right away too on the punt return. So, and then he was asked to step in at the end of the year and really take all the reps as a starting slot receiver from then on. And he did a great job adjusting, but it did felt like we were having to play catch up because maybe we didn't prepare enough on the front end for someone is going to go down at some point. You don't want that to happen, but if it does happen, you got to be ready. So mixing in guys where I get reps with, 6, 7, 8 different receivers that could possibly be in there if something were to happen, or just roll in there. You got to keep guys fresh. So I think that's an emphasis too, is getting reps with those guys, not just the starting group, but the guys that could roll in there, because you never know when you're gonna lean on those guys and they have to make plays, and you got to have the chemistry. So that's a big point of emphasis. As far as reps in practice, I plan on being the same. They mentioned they might roll CJ and Mack in there a little bit with the ones to get them some reps and chemistry with those guys, just in case, stuff like that, which is perfectly fine. So we'll just, us and myself and the coaches will kind of figure that out and move forward with that.
We're going to finish with Demetrius, Olivia, and Mark's last one.
So Trevor, just the league seems to be moving toward 18 games as the regular season schedule. I'm just curious from a player's perspective if you have given any thought to that, or how that would look like, or just your general feelings on it.
Yeah, sure. That's a good question. It's a lot of games, so I think there has to be some give. It's a lot of games on the players, and it's already 17's a lot when we went from 16 to 17. So, maybe if there's 2 bye weeks, I don't really know what the conversations are there. I haven't been involved in those, so I don't know. Don't have an answer for it, but I think you have to add some type of extra break if you're going to add an extra game, because that's a lot, and you're not even talking playoffs and preseason on top of that. So how that all adjusts, I don't know, but I think if you do that, you got to give something up to give the guys a little bit of a break for their bodies.
All right, hopefully easy question for you. In the offseason, you were seen playing with NFL quarterbacks and local high school kids as well. What was that like for you to kind of build those relationships with other NFL quarterbacks and potentially guys who could be receiving your throws in the NFL?
What are you talking about specifically? Oh, yeah. Got you. Yes. So, yeah, that was last week. It was recently. I went out there. It was great to see Brock. And I know some of the other guys around the league out there, too. Nathan Peterman was out there. And we had a group of high school guys catching. So it's cool when all those different worlds collide. And I obviously remember when I was in high school, if I had the opportunity to be out there with guys that played in the NFL, I would have loved that. And the guys that were catching for us really enjoyed it and were asking us some questions and just enjoyed being out there and getting that opportunity. So, and for us, it's great to have guys to catch. Sometimes in the offseason, everyone's spread out. The guys in the team usually are in a lot of different places and traveling and enjoying the break and just trying to get some family time in. So it's nice to have some bodies and some hands to catch. But yeah, I've always really liked Brock. I've known him for a couple of years now, and the way he carries himself, I've always had a lot of respect for that. And it's always fun getting together with him. But yeah, it's good.
All right, last one to Mark.
And on this one, we've talked about this before. So much goes into turnovers, but where does that rank on your to-do list to get that number down, so that it's maybe what's a manageable number for you? Going into the season, what do you like?
0 would be great. No, I mean,
how much does that bother you going into year 4?
Yeah, I think if you look at my career, my rookie year, just making decisions throwing the ball probably wasn't great, and I think I've made a big improvement on that. Interceptions, the type. I mean, obviously we throw the ball a lot. You're going to have some interceptions. Stuff's going to happen, but I think for the most part, the last 2 years, decisions have been good. Obviously, you're going to have a few every once in a while that aren't great decisions. Playing quarterback, throwing the ball a lot, that's going to happen. But it's more of what I've talked about in the past is just the ball security in the pocket and in space running and not putting the ball on the ground. That's something that I control that's easier to control, honestly, I think, than sometimes the passing game. So that's really what I got to fix. So I put a big emphasis on that of just securing the ball in the pocket when I'm moving around, when I'm scrambling. That's something that obviously I got to fix, and you got to limit turnovers. That's the number one key in games to winning or losing is how many times you turn the ball over, how many turnovers do you get as a defense. And obviously as an offense, we control when we give the ball away. So you got to be able to limit that.
How do you fix it? I mean, do you hold it high? Are you trying to hold it higher when you run, when you scramble?
Just being smart, knowing when, some situations, knowing when to take a sack. A lot of them are coming from you're getting tackled and you're trying to escape, so the ball gets loose or whatever, and then it gets hit from somebody else. So that's one instance. If you're getting sacked, sometimes you just got to take it and go down in space, tucking it, not getting wide, taking certain hits. And then in the pocket, it's two hands, it's tight to the body. When you feel the pocket collapsing, it's being able to tuck it, all those things. And that's stuff that you just drill and work. And sometimes it's hard because you don't simulate and you don't get hit in practice. But you got to find ways to drill it, whether it's with pads, with coaches, with the little puncher things, whatever you want to call them. Stuff like that. That stuff does work, builds muscle memory, but you just got to keep doing it.
Thanks, Trevor.
Awesome. Thank you all.
Thanks, Trevor.